A 23-year-old pregnant girl was shockingly found concealed under another woman's bed when discovered. Her remains had already decomposed with visible maggots. After police launched their investigation, a crumpled ultrasound report helped uncover the horrifying truth. What's truly chilling is that the criminal actually returned to the scene and held a conversation with the corpse. Who exactly is the killer? And what was the relationship among them? On February 28, 2015, in Maiju City, Guangdong Province, the peaceful life of landlord Zhong was abruptly disrupted by a series of phone calls. Tenants complained one after another, reporting an unbearable stench permeating his apartment building. Soon, neighbors also joined in the complaints. Initially, Zhong thought it might be from the rat poison he had placed earlier. But when he personally went to inspect the building, he realized the situation was far more complicated than he had imagined. Upon arriving, Zhong began inspecting the building floor by floor. Strangely enough, he found no trace of any dead rats. This left him deeply puzzled. The stench was undoubtedly emanating from his building, yet despite thoroughly searching, he couldn't locate its origin. Determined to solve the mystery, Zhong decided to contact each tenant individually to inquire about unusual smells in their units. However, when he tried reaching the tenant of room 307, he failed. All other tenants had been successfully contacted, with each denying the odor originated from their units. At this point, room 307 became the sole point of suspicion. Compounding the situation, the stench on the third floor grew increasingly intense, causing Zhong to become visibly unsettled. Determined to identify the odor source promptly, he summoned a locksmith. The moment the lock was opened, an even more pungent stench assaulted their senses. The furnishings in room 307 were extremely simple: a bed and a bathroom, with no other large items besides these. Zhong had expected to see something like dead rats here, but the room appeared normal at first glance. However, just as Zhong was about to leave, he suddenly noticed that the bedding was missing. So, he took a closer look at the bed and spotted a corner of the quilt peeking out from beneath it. Upon approaching, he realized all the bedding had been shoved under the bed. Judging by how it lay, the bedding had been tossed into the middle of the space beneath the bed in one lump. Clearly, someone had deliberately thrown it there. He realized there must be something hidden under the bed. Zhong immediately called the police. The authorities arrived quickly. With caution, they moved the bedding aside, and what came next made everyone at the scene gasp in horror. There was a decomposing body of a woman. Maggots swarmed over her remains, and several clear wounds marked her head. The sight was too gruesome to bear. The police preliminarily concluded that this was a homicide. Based on the forensic examiner's initial assessment, the victim had been killed over 10 days ago. After a thorough investigation, the police discovered a blood-stained ashtray and a shattered beer bottle on the table in room 307, both suspected to be the tools used by the perpetrator. According to the forensic examiner's preliminary analysis, these items matched the blunt force trauma on the victim's head, indicating that the killer had acted impulsively, randomly grabbing whatever was available at the scene. Therefore, room 307 was confirmed to be the primary crime scene. Moreover, there were no signs of forced entry on the doors or windows, leading investigators to suspect that the killer and the victim were likely acquainted. Additionally, in such a small rental unit, if the victim had screamed for help, neighbors would have certainly heard it. Yet in reality, no one in the vicinity reported any unusual noises. This strongly suggests that the victim never anticipated the fatal assault, and the killer's actions appear to have been entirely spontaneous. Furthermore, inside the room's trash bin, police discovered a crumpled ultrasound report. The examination date was February 1, 2015, and the document showed that a 23-year-old woman named Li Meng was 1 month pregnant. Normally, news of a pregnancy would be a joyful moment for a couple, and the ultrasound report would be carefully kept, not casually discarded. Yet this one had been crumpled up and thrown away, suggesting that someone was deeply unhappy about Li Meng's pregnancy. Investigators therefore suspected that the victim was most likely Li Meng, and the criminal was probably someone she knew, with whom she had a romantic entanglement. Lee Meng's fate was likely tied to her pregnancy. The killer may have harmed her out of anger or rejection of the news. Additionally, the killer had a key to room 307. To confirm the victim's identity, the police asked the landlord. However, he replied that he didn't know anyone by that name. He stated that the tenant of room 307 was a woman named Zhong Hong, who occasionally stayed there for a few days with her son. The police immediately requested Zhong Hong's contact information, but strangely, her phone was completely unreachable. Now with a body discovered in her room, a chilling question arose. Was the victim Lee Meng or Zhong Hong herself? After relentless attempts, the police finally got through to Zhong Hong. According to her statement, room 307 was indeed rented under her name, but she only stayed there temporarily after arguments with her husband, and she never brought any other women to the room. She didn't know Lee Meng at all. If what she said was true, why was there a young woman's body in her room? So the police suspected that she had missed something. After ruling out the possibility that the victim was Zhong Hong, the police shifted their focus to Lee Meng. After days of investigation, they confirmed Lee Meng's identity. She was the manager of a mobile service store in Maiju City. The police then visited the store where Lee Meng had worked for further clues. At the store, police learned a critical detail. Lee Meng had been missing for over 10 days. From February 17th onward, Lee Meng never showed up at the store. During this time, her phone remained powered off and colleagues were unable to reach her. The police were shocked to discover that Lee Meng's family had never reported her missing during those 2 weeks of disappearance. Authorities then contacted Lee Meng's relatives. Through DNA comparison, investigators confirmed the victim was indeed Lee Meng. Upon learning that, Lee Meng's parents were devastated. According to her parents, Lee Meng had told them she had a rich boyfriend and they lived together. However, from February 17, 2015 onward, Lee Meng's family could no longer reach her directly. They could only learn about her whereabouts through her boyfriend. Whenever they asked to speak with Lee Meng, her boyfriend always refused. This pattern made Lee Meng's boyfriend the prime suspect. From Lee Meng's older sister, police obtained crucial information about her boyfriend. A man named Liu, a 35-year-old man from Aixian District, Maiju City, Guangdong Province. Then came the bombshell revelation. Liu wasn't just Lee Meng's lover. He was also Zhong Hong's legally married husband. This discovery reshaped the entire investigation. Lee Meng was pregnant. Her body was found in the very apartment rented by Zhong Hong. The police suspected that Lee Meng's death a joint conspiracy, that Liu and Zhong Hong colluded to kill her. Facing police questioning, Zhong Hong firmly denied any involvement, stating she had nothing to do with Lee Meng's case. She admitted her marriage had long been troubled. After their son was born, Liu became a completely different person. His care for her gradually diminished. He often physically abused her, and infidelity was a given. For the sake of their child, Zhong Hong chose not to divorce. Given this strained marital relationship, Zhong Hong asserted there was absolutely no way she would collaborate with Liu to harm anyone. To prove her innocence, Zhong Hong presented her bus ticket records, showing she had returned to her parents' home on February 14, 2015. She stated that she had left Maiju City since February 14th and would have remained at her parents' home until now, if not for cooperating with the police investigation into Lee Meng's case. After reviewing surveillance footage from Maiju high-speed railway station, the police verified Zhong Hong's alibi. Cross-referencing with information provided by Lee Meng's colleagues, it was confirmed that Lee Meng went missing on February 17, 2015, by which time Zhong Hong had already left Maiju. Therefore, Zhong Hong had no opportunity to commit the crime. Additionally, Zhong Hong informed the police that during the Lunar New Year period in February, Liu had borrowed the key to room 307 from her, claiming that a friend needed to stay there for a few days. Without suspicion, she handed the key to her husband. This revelation made Liu the sole suspect in the case. To gather more evidence, the police reviewed the surveillance footage from the apartment building where room 307 was located. However, since over 10 days had passed since the incident, the building's security system had only retained the last 7 days of recordings, a significant setback for the investigation. Undeterred by this challenge, investigators conducted a meticulous analysis of the available footage, determined to uncover any potential clues that could lead to a breakthrough in the case. During this process, the police made a crucial discovery. The surveillance footage captured a pivotal moment. At 9:19 p.m. on February 27, 2015, just one day before the police received the report, a man entered room 307. 2 hours later, the same man exited the room and hurriedly left the apartment. Upon identification, the man was confirmed to be the suspect, Liu. What's even more unsettling is that by February 27, the stench of Li Meng's decomposing body would have been unmistakable. So why did Liu enter room 307 without noticing anything unusual? This bizarre behavior deepened suspicions. Was he the one who hid the body under the bed? Did he return to tamper with evidence or retrieve something incriminating? Or was his presence that night part of an attempt to stage the scene? The timing of his visit, right before the police were alerted, suggested a desperate move. The question remained, what was he doing in that room for 2 hours with a corpse? The complex relationships between the man and the two women drew intense scrutiny from investigators, making the case increasingly urgent and complicated to unravel. With Zhong Hong's cooperation, the police successfully apprehended Liu. He realized the futility of denial and quickly confessed to his crimes. In 2013, Liu met Li Meng by chance. At the time, he was already married to Zhong Hong, but he lied to Li Meng, posing as a single eligible bachelor with a car, property and substantial savings. With smooth talk and deception, Liu successfully won Li Meng's affection. Their relationship grew increasingly intimate, eventually evolving into what seemed like a sweet romance. Before long, Li Meng became pregnant with his child. On February 17, 2015, Liu brought Li Meng to room 307 for a meeting. During their encounter, Li Meng repeatedly reminded Liu about her pregnancy and insisted that he marry her as soon as possible. Liu grew increasingly agitated. Despite his strained relationship with Zhong Hong, he had never actually considered divorce. Moreover, Liu was fully aware that Li Meng didn't truly love him. She was only after the wealth he pretended to have. Her continued presence in his life was solely due to the fabricated illusion that he was a wealthy heir. Liu frequently visited luxury venues for entertainment, claiming to Li Meng that he owned a company. In reality, he had no job or income. The extravagant lifestyle he displayed to her was entirely sustained by high-interest loans. After 2 years of reckless spending, the loan sharks began demanding repayment. At this time, Li Meng's pregnancy further intensified Liu's desperation. She demanded marriage, and during this period, Li Meng noticed debt collection messages on Liu's phone. A fierce argument erupted between them. During the quarrel, Liu angrily revealed his marital status and bluntly told Li Meng he would never accept the child. As their fight escalated, Liu gradually lost emotional control. He felt his pride was severely challenged, wanting both to escape the confrontation and to retaliate. In the end, evil overcame reason. To silence Li Meng, Liu swiftly grabbed the nearby ashtray and beer bottle, striking her head repeatedly. He then strangled her with a clothesline. After ensuring she had stopped breathing, he wrapped her body in bedding and concealed it beneath the bed to hide his crime. Locking the door behind him, he fled the scene. Though Liu later contemplated suicide, he ultimately couldn't bring himself to do it. When questioned about his return the night before the police discovery, Liu claimed he missed Li Meng too much and went back to talk to her corpse. Under further interrogation, he admitted he had actually returned to check for any overlooked evidence, pushing the blood-stained sheets further beneath the bed. Investigators also uncovered that Liu had drained Li Meng's Alipay account, transferring all funds to himself. He then sold her phone, using the money to repay his loan sharks. These acts laid bare not only his brutality, but also his cold calculation to extract every last value from his victim. Yet the law's net is vast, no evil escapes. Before seasoned investigators, Liu's schemes crumbled. In the end, he was sentenced to death for intentional homicide, with permanent deprivation of political rights. The capture of Liu not only brings solace to the victim, but also inspires all who seek justice. No matter how deeply evil hides, the light of justice will ultimately pierce through the shadows, offering hope and conviction to all. That's all for now. If you enjoyed this case, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow Case Diaries. There are plenty more cases coming your way. Got thoughts on today's story? Drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. See you in the next one.